I never meant to stay this late at her house. What started as an easy evening, me helping my friend's mom carry in groceries, fixing the loose hinge on the porch door, stretched into hours. By the time I realized, the house had gone quiet. Too quiet. My friend had left earlier for an overnight shift, and somehow I was still here, sitting in her kitchen while the clock hummed over us. She was pouring tea. The faint scrape of the ceramic cup on the counter felt louder than it should. I noticed her hands, steady, careful, and the way she avoided my eyes when she asked, "Honey or lemon?" I said neither, but I didn't take the cup right away. My fingers brushed hers when she slid it across. A flicker, so small it could have been an accident. But she pulled her hand back too quickly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear as if to cover it. She looked tired, but beautiful in that tired way. Hair tied up, the neckline of her sweater loose, sleeves pushed up past her elbows. I'd seen her 100 times before, but not like this. Not when it was just the two of us. "You should get going," she said softly. But she didn't move. Neither did I. The air between us felt heavy, though the window was cracked open and the late summer breeze came through. I sipped the tea just to fill the silence. It was too hot, burned the tip of my tongue, but I didn't flinch. She caught the way I held it anyway, and her lips curved, half amusement, half something else. "You always pretend it doesn't hurt," she said, her voice lower now. "Even when it does." I smiled. Maybe I like proving I can handle it. She exhaled, almost a laugh, but it didn't reach her eyes. Instead, her gaze lingered on me too long before darting away. She folded her arms, as if bracing herself. And that's when she said it. Not teasing, not light, but in a tone that landed heavier than she intended. "Don't tempt me." The words hung in the air, raw, like something she'd been holding back and accidentally let slip. I should have nodded. I should have let it pass, pretended I hadn't heard the weight in her voice. But instead, my throat tightened and the words came out before I could stop them. "But what if I want to?" She froze. Her fingers tightened against her sleeve. For a second, she didn't breathe, and I thought I'd gone too far. I thought she'd send me out into the night, tell me I was foolish. But then her eyes met mine. Not for a second, not a glance, but steady, unwavering. My chest ached from the silence. The clock ticked behind us, a car passed in the distance, and still she didn't look away. Something shifted. Something dangerous. I leaned forward, not close enough to touch, just enough for her to notice. She didn't move back. Her lips parted, maybe to speak, maybe to stop me. I couldn't tell. And then, the sharp chime of her phone broke the silence, lighting up the counter. A message. The glow reflected off her face, but her eyes were still on me. She didn't reach for the phone. Neither did I. The phone kept buzzing against the counter, but neither of us moved. Eventually, she reached over, flipped it face down without even checking. "It's late," she said again, softer now, as if reminding herself more than me. I should have stood up. I didn't. Instead, I leaned back in the chair, watching her as she tried to busy herself with something, rinsing the cups, stacking them in the sink. The faucet ran longer than it needed to, like she wanted the sound to drown out what had just been said. Her back was turned, but I remembered things my friend had let slip about her. That his dad had left years ago, that she hadn't dated anyone serious since. I used to think of her as strong, self-contained, the kind of woman who never needed anyone. But now, watching her linger by the sink with her hands braced against the edge, I saw something else. A stillness that felt lonely. "You ever regret it?" I asked before I could stop myself. She turned, brow furrowed. "Regret what?" "Not trying again. After him." Her laugh was short, dry. "That's not something you ask me." "I know," I said, lowering my voice. "I'm just curious." She shook her head, wiping her hands on a towel. "You're 24. You've got the whole world chasing you. You don't understand how tiring it gets." I almost told her she was wrong. That I did know, because chasing people who never noticed me had left me just as tired. But I didn't. Instead, I studied the faint line of exhaustion around her eyes, the way her shoulders seemed to carry too much. I realized then how dangerous this was. She wasn't just older. She wasn't just my friend's mom. She was someone who had lived a life before me, who had already been hurt. If I reached for her, I wouldn't just be tempting her. I'd be asking her to risk everything she'd built. And yet, I couldn't make myself leave. "You think I don't notice?" she said suddenly, her voice sharper than she meant. "The way you look at me." Heat rose to my face. I opened my mouth, closed it. I couldn't deny it, so I didn't try. She let out a long breath, softer now. You shouldn't. It's not fair. To you. To him. To me. I swallowed, staring down at my hands. She was right. Every word was right. But when I lifted my eyes again, she was looking at me with something that betrayed her own words, a flicker that told me she wasn't as sure as she pretended to be. The air felt heavy again. My pulse drummed in my ears. Without thinking, I reached for the towel she still held, just brushing her fingers as I took it. Her hand stilled in mine for the briefest second. Neither of us spoke. Neither of us pulled away. The sound of the faucet dripping filled the silence between us. Her hand slipped from mine at last, but too late. The pause had already happened. The air had already changed. She turned away quickly, pretending to busy herself again, but the towel she grabbed was already folded, her movements clumsy. I can't, she started, then stopped. I leaned forward. You can't what? Her shoulders stiffened. This isn't right. You're his friend. He trusts me. The words stung. I wanted to argue, to tell her I wasn't a kid anymore, that I saw her as no one else did. But before I could, the front door clicked. We both froze. Her son's voice carried faintly through the hallway. Mom? You up? Panic rippled through me. She darted a look at me that said everything. Say nothing. Stay still. My chest pounded as his footsteps came closer. She stepped quickly to the counter, grabbing her phone as if she'd just been tidying. I shoved my chair back, tried to look casual. Too casual. Her son appeared in the doorway, hair messy, backpack slung over one shoulder. Oh, didn't know you were still here. I forced a smile. Yeah, I was just, helping with the hinge earlier. Lost track of time. He glanced between us, suspicion flickering just long enough to make my throat tighten. Then he shrugged. Cool. You heading out? I hesitated. She cut in quickly. Yes. He was just leaving. Her tone was brisk, practiced, but her hands trembled slightly as she set her phone down. I stood, nodding, mumbling something about class in the morning. He didn't seem to notice, already halfway down the hall again. The sound of his door shutting echoed like a warning bell. When it was just us again, she let out a shaky breath, pressing her hand to her forehead. You see, she whispered. This is exactly what I mean. One wrong moment, and everything. She broke off, shaking her head. I stepped closer. Too close. But it wasn't wrong. Not to me. Her eyes lifted to mine, wide, conflicted. She didn't step back. My hand hovered for a second, almost on her arm, before I forced it down. You should go, she said again, but softer this time. Not pushing, almost pleading. I nodded, but I didn't move. If I walk out that door tonight, do I come back? Her lips parted, but no words came. Just silence, the sound of her breath catching. For a heartbeat, it felt like the world narrowed to just that. Her, me, the space between us. And then she did something unexpected. She reached out, almost instinctively, and brushed her fingers against my wrist as if steadying me. It was barely a touch, gone in an instant, but it carried more weight than any kiss could have. Good night, she whispered, finally pulling away. I walked toward the door, every nerve on fire, her touch still burning on my skin. Behind me, I heard the faintest sound, her exhale, shaky, like she'd been holding her breath the whole time. I tried to keep my distance after that night. A few days, then a week. Told myself it was safer. Told myself it was better. But the truth? I couldn't stop thinking about her. The way her hand had lingered on mine. The tremor in her voice when she told me goodnight. When I finally saw her again, it wasn't planned. I was dropping something off for her son, a textbook, some notes, when she opened the door instead. Her breath caught, just slightly. Mine too. You shouldn't be here, she said, though she stepped aside to let me in. The house smelled of coffee and rain. A storm had just passed, and the windows were still beaded with water. I set the book on the table, pretending that was all I came for. But my chest was tight, my hands restless, and she noticed. You look like you haven't slept, she said. Neither have you. I shot back, before I could catch myself. Her lips pressed together. She turned away, started fussing with the mail on the counter. Don't do that. Do what? Act like you know me. Like you can. She stopped, shaking her head. You're too young to understand. I stepped closer, the words rushing out. Then explain it to me. Because I can't stop thinking about you. I've tried, but I cut myself off, jaw tightening. I don't want it anymore. Her hand froze on the pile of envelopes. She didn't look up. For a long moment, the only sound was the rain dripping from the gutters outside. Then, almost in a whisper, she said, "Do you have any idea what you're asking of me?" I swallowed. "Yeah, everything." That broke her composure. She turned sharply, eyes wet with something I couldn't name. Anger, maybe. Or fear. Or both. "You think this is simple?" she snapped. "You think I can just forget who you are? Who I'm supposed to be?" Her voice cracked. "You're my son's friend. If anyone found out, I don't care." The words came out harder than I meant. "I don't care what anyone thinks. I care about you." Her chest rose and fell too fast. She backed up a step, but I followed, not touching, just close enough that she had to feel the pull too. "That's not fair," she whispered. "You can walk away." "I can't." I shook my head. "You don't want me to." Her lips parted, but no words came. Her hand lifted, almost reaching for me, then stopped halfway. Trembling fingers hovered in the space between us, caught between pushing me away and pulling me closer. I leaned in, not enough to close the gap, but enough that the air grew electric, charged. My heart slammed in my chest. She whispered, barely audible, "If you don't leave right now, I won't be able to stop." And then, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway shattered the moment. Headlights cut across the rain-streaked window. We froze, caught in that thin line between confession and disaster. The headlights vanished as quickly as they came. Just the neighbor backing out, not her son after all. But the damage was done. The spell broke. She pulled back, pressing a hand to her chest like she needed to steady her heartbeat. "I can't do this," she whispered, almost to herself. "Not with you. Not like this." The words landed heavier than I expected. I opened my mouth to argue, but she was already moving toward the stairs, needing distance. That was when her phone buzzed on the counter. A single message lit up the screen. My name. My stomach dropped. She froze mid-step, eyes darting to the phone, then to me. Her face drained of color. I walked over slowly, afraid of what I'd see. The preview of the text was short, but enough. "I saw you too." Does he know? I felt the world tilt under me. My pulse roared in my ears. Someone knew. Who? I started, but she snatched the phone, clutching it against her chest. "Doesn't matter," she said quickly. Too quickly. "Yes, it does." My voice rose, harsher than I meant. "Who was that? What does it mean, does he know?" Her jaw tightened. She looked at me with a mix of panic and something like shame. "You need to leave. Now." I stepped closer, refusing. "Tell me the truth." Her breath came uneven, her hand trembling around the phone. Finally, she said it. "It's not just your friend I'm protecting. It's someone else." I blinked. "What?" Her voice cracked, lower now. "There's someone I've been seeing. Off and on. It's nothing serious. But," she stopped, shook her head. "It's messy. And if they find out about this, about you." The words burned through me. Someone else. She hadn't told me. She'd let me believe. My hands curled into fists at my sides. "So what was all of this, then? Just a game to you?" Her eyes flashed, hurt. "Don't you dare. You think I wanted this? That I planned for you to be the one I can't stop thinking about?" Silence felt like a weight. My anger tangled with something deeper. Fear, jealousy, a raw ache I couldn't name. I turned toward the door, but stopped halfway. My voice shook when I spoke. "Tell me it doesn't mean anything. Say it, and I'll walk away right now." She didn't answer. The seconds stretched. The rain outside slowed, dripping steady against the windows. Finally, she whispered, almost broken, "I can't say that." I closed my eyes, fighting the rush of relief and pain all tangled together. Behind me, I heard her phone buzz again, insistent. She didn't move to answer it this time. Instead, her voice came, low and raw. "I don't know how to fix this." I turned back to her, my chest aching. "Then don't fix it. Just don't lie to me." The space between us quivered, fragile, about to break again. The second buzz of her phone cut through the room like a blade. Neither of us moved. Her hand clenched tighter around it, knuckles white, as if the whole thing might disappear if she held it hard enough. Finally, she set it face down on the counter. "I can't live like this," she said, voice barely holding. "Lying, hiding. I told myself I'd never." She trailed off, her throat working, but the words wouldn't come. I stepped forward, pulse hammering. "Then don't. Don't lie. Don't hide. Not from me." Her eyes snapped to mine, raw, almost angry at how easy I made it sound. "You don't get it. You get to leave, Start over, pretend none of this ever happened. I don't. I have a life here. A son. A reputation that. I don't care about any of that. I cut in, harsher than I meant. Then softer. I just care about you. The words hung there. Heavy. Too heavy. She let out a breath that trembled at the edges. Do you even know what you're saying? You're 24. 10 years from now you'll wake up and wonder why you wasted time on a woman who should have known better. I shook my head, stepping closer until we were only a foot apart. I'll never regret this. My voice dropped, unsteady but sure. The only regret I'd have is walking away tonight and pretending this isn't real. Something cracked in her then, the wall she'd been building since the first night. Her lips parted, her eyes softening even as they brimmed with fear. You make it sound so simple, she whispered. Maybe it is, I said. Her hand lifted, hesitated, then rested against my chest. Just the barest pressure, but it nearly knocked the breath out of me. I covered it with mine, holding it there. For a moment, the world went impossibly quiet. No phone, no sun upstairs, no neighbor's headlights. Just us. She leaned in, almost imperceptibly. I could feel the warmth of her breath, the hesitation in the way her body hovered between pulling away and falling forward. If I let this happen, she murmured, there's no undoing it. I swallowed hard. Then don't undo it. Her eyes searched mine, desperate, torn. Then something gave way. She closed the gap. Not fully, not yet, but enough for her forehead to rest against mine. A fragile contact, more intimate than any kiss. We stayed there, suspended in that thin space between ruin and relief. I'm terrified, she whispered. So am I admitted. The phone buzzed again. Louder this time, insistent. She didn't move. Neither did I. We just stayed there, breathing the same air, knowing that whatever choice came next would change everything. And for the first time, neither of us looked away. Her forehead pressed against mine, her breath uneven, and for a long moment we didn't move. The phone buzzed once more on the counter, then finally went silent. It was almost a relief, like the world had decided to stop interrupting us. When she finally stepped back, her hand lingered on my chest before slipping away. It can't go on like this. Secrets eat people alive. I nodded, though my throat tightened. Then don't make it a secret. Her laugh was shaky, without humor. You think it's that simple? No, I admitted. But I think hiding it will only make it worse. And you don't deserve worse. You deserve someone who sees you, all of you. That landed harder than I expected. Her eyes softened, as if no one had said that to her in years. She leaned against the counter, rubbing her hands together. Your friend, my son, he won't forgive me. Maybe not, I said quietly. But would you forgive yourself for never trying? For pretending you didn't feel what you feel right now? She closed her eyes, her face tightening with the weight of regret. Then, slowly, she opened them again and met my gaze. And in that moment, I knew the decision was made. Not perfect, not easy, but real. I can't promise this will last, she whispered. I can't promise I won't hurt you. I stepped closer, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. I don't want promises. I just want you. Her lips trembled into the smallest smile, fragile and tired but genuine. Then, finally, she closed the space between us. Not tentative this time, not halfway, but fully. Her kiss was soft at first, then deeper, like years of restraint snapping all at once. When we finally pulled apart, her forehead rested against mine again, but now there was no hesitation. Only relief. You know this changes everything, she murmured. Good, I said. We stayed like that, the house quiet except for the dripping gutters outside. For the first time, neither of us ran, neither of us looked away. The risk, the fear, the shame, it was all still there, but so was something stronger. Hope. Later, when I left her house, the night air was cool, the streets still wet from rain. I knew nothing would be simple from here. Her son, the neighbors, whoever had sent that message, all of it would catch up to us. But for once, I didn't feel like I was standing outside her door without a reason. This time, I had won. And so did she. Thought Balloon, did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?